good field, a quality field of machinery for the opening round of the New South Wales Production Sports Car Q Endurance Super Series. Just hearing as well, update from the pits, it will be in the Lotus, the number 456 car. It won't be Steve One, it'll actually be Valeri Musman, who is the owner of that car, who will be on starting duty in that entry.
Good to get those details cleared up. The cars have already made their way around to the grid. It was a KFC car of Gary Higgin and Daniel Gaunt that shared the race win, the qualifying win pole position last year, and that has remained the same. It is a KFC car on the front row of the grid. Revs rise. GT cars go into a set program and away they go. Matt Stupas dropping the clutch there, and there's a car not getting away. It's Paul Bassett after a fantastic qualifying session. He's disappearing back to midfield. All the way back he goes. That blue and white striped car that just exited the screen was on the third row of the grid. He's now disappeared out of shot. That's a horrible start. It was such a good qualifying run for that car, and he's gone back at least 20 spots off the grid there. The officials looked very quick to jump on the fact that there was a car stalled there right at the front of the grid. Luckily, we had no carnage on the start line.
Some great evasive action there. Conversely, a very good start from the other Class A Porsche of Jason Miller, who made up a couple of spots there off the line. But what you have to remember here, Darren, is that a lot of these GT cars and drivers are used to doing rolling starts rather than standing starts. But because this is around the New South Wales Production Sports Car Series, under the sporting regulations for this category, it's a standing start. So a different start procedure compared to what a lot of the drivers are used to.
Interesting watching the start of Matty Stupas. It was violent. It engaged the clutch in a very violent fashion. So we'll have to keep an eye on that car. They don't like that sort of violent clutch activation. They really do. They've only got a small, albeit triple plate clutch. It's only a small diameter. So those rolling starts are certainly what the GT3 cars prefer to do. And let's face it, under lights ablaze at 5:30 in the morning at Bathurst, it's a very spectacular way to get a race started. But standing start here for sports cars is always spectacular. Porsches always walk away from the line very, very nicely indeed. The Carrera Cup run a standing start type of procedure. But it's all Audis at the front of the field running in the Australian GT Trophy Series. Let's look back down. It's Jason Miller in Class A doing a terrific job in the Stokes Skis entry. And there's Richard Gartner, the safety stop Lamborghini, being prepared by Wall Racing. And he's really enjoyed the switch over to the Raging Bull. Many Porsches over time, of course, also in production cars. There's Richard Gartner's history. But really enjoying having the Raging Bull. And I'll tell you what, one of the cars in the field you can mind having in your transporter when you go to the races is that number 95 with Jeff Taunton. You can see Jeff out there and running in the Trophy Series.
Recently purchased the Mark Cars operation from Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, not only is he a commitment to running the car in the series, he's running the business now. So advertising and representing for Mark Cars, and let's hope Mark Cars goes from strength to strength and they keep building these magnificent endurance style GT and sports cars.
There will be compulsory pit stops in this 60-minute race. The pit window opens at the 20-minute mark and closes at the 40-minute mark. It's a mandatory 60-second stationary pit stop that must be served by every car in the field. In the case of the twin driver combinations, they will change drivers during that compulsory stop as well. Matt Stupas leads the race by 1.9 seconds. It's Audis running in positions 1, 2 and 3. Stupas ahead of Kelly, ahead of Mariti. Richard Gartner fourth in the Lamborghini. Then we go back to Jason Miller, who is the highest placed of the Class A cars in his Porsche 911. Jeff Taunton sixth, followed by the experienced Jeff Morgan in seventh. Gary Higgin eighth. Paul Bassett back up to ninth position after that slow start. So on the cutback trail, and it's Ward, Zabo, McFadden, Withers, Abrahams. Casper Tressida didn't get a particularly strong start either. He's fallen all the way back to position 15. Andre Nader, the best of the Class B cars at the moment in his BMW, ahead of Steve One. Michael Stilwell in 18th outright leads the way in Class C.
Arthur Abrahams has made a couple of spots up off the start in that Huracan Super Trofeo. Very, very menacing looking car. Again, it's carbon grey with bright trims on it as well. So you can see a couple of spots results out of that first lap and a half of this race. The driver changes that are done during the compulsory pit stops are not such a torrid affair that we might see in other endurance trims. There's plenty of time given for the driver change, so it is a very deliberate fashion of doing the driver change. There is plenty of time. There's no need to really hustle and push each other around and get out of the way and drag each other out of the car, that sort of thing.
I think from a safety perspective, it's the right way to do it. What you have to remember is that, with all due respect, the drivers in this category are not elite athletes like what you would have in supercars, where they're able to practice driver changes as part of their daily routine because it's their profession. So in the interests of ensuring that harnesses and the various safety devices are all secured and attached properly, I think it's a good safety initiative.
And as much as these teams are really professionally run, they don't have the 50 staff on board to make sure everything runs smoothly. They're not doing 30 races a year where they're in and out of these cars, and when they do come to endurance races like we see in the supercar type trim, that it needs to be done so that the hands device is situated nicely. Everything is done very, very well, and that's to make sure the drivers are comfortable as well. You know, they can't get in. How many times have we seen a driver that can't get comfortable because the belt's not situated on the hands device properly? And if that's not right, then what's the point of having the hands device if it's not suited well? Here's the Nader Wilson car. Nader currently at the wheel, number 82. I really like this car. This is a really striking pose with the BMW being chased down by that Valeri Muzman in the Exige V6 Cup R.
Supercharged V6 engine in the Lotus, turbocharged 6-cylinder engine in the BMW. So the BMW M4, from the outside with the body kit that it has, it looks a bit like a GT4 car, but it's not. It's been developed by Adrian Wilson and Andre Nader. And in terms of performance, it's not far away from a GT4 car, but technically doesn't actually comply with GT4 regulations. But this is a good battle at the moment between the BMW and the Lotus. These cars squabbling over positions within Class B at the moment.
Yeah, this is what it's all about, this sort of racing. The Air Real Estate M4. Very big, menacing black rear wing up in the clean air on the back of that car. And the battle is 4 on the road, 16 and 17 on the road. It's Michael Stilwell that dips in behind these guys. So this is a good run. Vince Mariti now doing the fastest lap of this race out of position number 3 at 1:32.177. And
very close there, Darren, between those top 3 Audis. Only 2.1 seconds separating 3 cars. So
even the Pirellis aren't even up to what you'd say the operating spec yet. Lap 4, lap 5 and 6 is where we know traditionally that the drivers know the tyre is under them and they can start to set fastest laps. We are a little bit off the ultimate lap time there for Vince at the moment, but he's certainly pushing very, very hard in position number 3. What I like about this at the moment, Lockie, is that Matt Stupas and Nick Kelly are old rivals. They fought it out in the Trophy Series, hammer and tong 2 seasons ago, and really did give us some great, great battles. At the moment, Matt Stupas has got a clean set of heels for Nick Kelly, and that was because Matt just absolutely nailed the start of the race. But watch for Nick Kelly. He's an experienced racer and knows how to go about it. And he will chase down Matt Stupas, as long as he hasn't got too much eyes for Vince Mariti at the moment, because he's challenging him as well.
And Vince Mariti, another driver who we're going to be seeing more of in national level competition as well, because he's recently purchased a Mercedes AMG GT3 from Scott Taylor Motorsport. You'd probably know the car that I'm talking about, the matte black one.
Yep.
We'll be seeing him running that in the Australian GT Championship.
Great to see that. Vince has been around the GT scene for a long time. Really good to see him, it's a toe in the water exercise running in the GT Trophy Series. To see him jump into an outright car will be absolutely fantastic. It's a shame that the Scotty Taylor Motorsport team aren't going to be doing that themselves, because I really like the way they go about racing. Have a look at this. That was a setup right from exiting turn 8. This Lotus is just being flowed ever so nicely around that top part of the layout here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Came onto the main straight with more drive, more corner exit speed, and drove on by the M4. You just get the feeling that Nader at the moment is going, righto, I see how you did that. Let me try and apply the same theory just with a inline turbocharged 6-cylinder. He seems as though he's not going to be able to stick with the Lotus at the moment, but certainly the 82 BMW not letting it drive away too quickly.
So that was actually a change for the lane within Class B between those two cars as well. But like you said, beautifully executed move there from Larry Guzman. Just got the better exit out of the 12th and final corner and was able to slip past down the inside, getting into turn number 1. A bit further back in the pack, this is one of our Class C cars, the number 73 Lotus Exige. This is the Honda-powered car of Glenn Townsend. And Glenn's run this car in a lot of production sports car events and also some 300 kilometre endurance racing events at Wakefield Park and Winton here at Sydney Motorsport Park over the years. And there is the Michael and Dave Stilwell Mustang, which currently leads the way in Class C. Michael Stilwell at the wheel for the opening stint. Dave's down in the pits at the moment. He'll jump in the car during the pit stop to bring it home.
Haven't listened to that Mustang accelerate out of turn 8 off the back of the paddock here. It's the only one that you can distinctively hear that familiar rumble of the V8. Not a lot of revs shown in this car. The number 2 going around down there, that's Casper Tresota.
Having a spin at turn 2. Now the question there, we've only caught the end of that incident. Did he do it on his own or was he assisted? Either way, it's a pretty awkward parking spot and he's going to have to wait for a break in the traffic to be able to swing that car around and rejoin the action.
Was in position number 14. Abraham's gone through there in the Lamborghini. He's disappearing off the back. Here's the replay. There was Arthur Abrahams.
He's done it on his own, so he was on the inside, on the dirty side of the road there, Darren, and he's locked the rear brakes as he's fired it into that corner.
Arthur Abrahams drives on continuously in that carbon grey Huracan. This is positions 1 and 2 on the road, and there's that gap just slightly coming back between Stupas and Nick Kelly. It's now under a second. It was 1.3, but Nick Kelly starting to apply the blowtorch. Having said that, last time round, yeah, it was Nick Kelly that was fastest out of the two of them. It's the car in the distance behind Vince Moretti at the wheel that has got the fastest lap of the race on lap number 3. We're on lap 7 now. This is when I'd start to expect to see the faster laps starting to unfold. Have a look at this, Jason Miller in the Stokes Skis outfit coming under fire from the EEA Mark car of Richard.
And Greg Ward's gone at turn 2, so another Porsche pilot who...
Have we got something down at turn 2? That's 2 Porsches that have gone around in a matter of sort of 3/4 of a lap. Is there a car going narrow into that corner? Are we losing grip? Is there rain falling down there that we can't pick up on the live stream?
Pay close attention to that because when we looked at the radar, Darren, just before this race, we saw that there was a heavy shower cell not too far away and looks like it might have been headed roughly in our direction. So it could be that shower has arrived at one part of the circuit before it hits other parts of the circuit.
Not seeing any deteriorating surface flags, the yellow and red stripe, the royal flag is something to call it. It's actually the deteriorating surface flag. Here we go. This is a replay. No, all on his own. No one else around. Not everyone else around for a long way, in fact. So the car 20 with Ward at the wheel goes around. Now finds himself down in 11th position. So let's see if he can recover from that and press on.
Now this is a very healthy battle that's happening at the moment between Jason Miller in the Stokes Porsche 911, Jeff Taunton and also Jeff Morgan. This is a strong performance from Jason Miller because he's in one of the older Porsche 997 GT3 Cup cars. He's holding out a Mark II car, and also Jeff Morgan, who's in the much newer 991 Mark II car. So Jason Miller does have a bit of a performance disadvantage with that slightly old model Porsche. He's doing a good job to keep the newer and mechanically superior cars at bay.
Certainly is. There's an evolution of change between the 997 and the 991. The 991 was a lot stronger car as far as performance goes. It had a slight gain in horsepower, but certainly technically superior to the 997. When you've got a 997, like any car that's had good development, you've got good preparation, and you've got a good wheelman, which Jason Miller is, you can take on all comers. Not the front three at the moment, but it's an all Audi lockout as far as that is concerned. Stupas, Kelly, Mariti, Gartner not even in the picture there, so the first of the Raging Bulls is in 4th place. And then we go to Jason Miller, who we just saw on the screen. This is Vince Mariti in the Penfold Auto Body car, the number 33, and there's our race leader, Matt Stupas. Where is Gary Higgins for his 9th? So there is our leader, Stupas to Nick Kelly, Vince Mariti, Richard Gartner, Jason Miller and Jeff Taunton rounding out our 5. That's Nick Kelly in the black and gold. I do like the Audi livery in the black and gold. We saw the Candyman running a black and gold livery there for a while. In fact, don't mention that around Matt Stupas. They had a horrible coming together at Queensland Raceway, a GT trophy race about 3 or 4 seasons ago. Destroyed 2 Audis in a qualifying session, which never pointed the finger at whose fault it was. In fact, I think it was put down to a racing incident in qualifying. Go figure how that works out. But they had a big shunt.
Not the first time that we've seen Matt Stupas tangled up in a bit of drama in qualifying sessions as well. Got caught up in a bit of a contretemps at Wakefield Park at the tail end of last year in a qualifying session as well. As we've now got laps traffic coming into play, so Glenn Townsend in the Lotus is being lapped by some of the faster cars in the field. The number 73 Lotus Exige will just have to step off the racing line to make sure that these faster vehicles have got clear passage and don't get impeded. Good job there from Glenn Townsend. He's recognised that the faster cars are motoring through. Michael Stilwell, the next car that Richard Gartner, Jason Miller, Jeff Taunton and Jeff Morgan will all be working their way past as we look back to the race leaders who are also having to start lapping cars. Still only 4.5 seconds separating the 3 race leaders, and that means, Darren, that pit strategy and the whole pit stop cycle is going to be very important with how it all plays out. It's going to be critical for drivers to get in and out of the pits with no more time lost than absolutely necessary.
Yeah, absolutely it is. You hit the nail on the head there, Lockie. If anyone even misses it by a couple of tenths of a second, it will certainly play out on track. As we look right into the cockpit there now, the KFC entered car, Matt Stupas, the older of the Audis out there, and certainly age has not wearied this one, that is for sure. It's doing a very, very strong job. Matt Stupas, of course, driving the LMS Ultra. The other Audis out there, the LMSs, so they're a season difference. You can actually tell it's quite a serious angles on the LMSs. The Ultras a lot more rounded on the front and the rear, whereas the LMSs, they went for that sharper angled look. It's quite easy to tell the difference when you see the cars up close. Here's
that battle once again for Class B between the Lotus and the BMW. Valeri Guzman back down the inside of Andre Nader and will recapture the lead of Class B through turn 1. So they'd swapped it back. BMW had managed to get back ahead of the Lotus, but the Lotus regains the ascendancy once again. Nader thinking about a move on the inside at turn 2, thinks better of it and tucks back in behind.
Andre Nader will be ruining that. He will have gone, right, he's done the same move to me again. I worked so hard to get through. I'm not going to let that Lotus get up the inside of me out of the final corner. I'll hold onto the line. But it is interesting to see that just 2 completely different iterations on a sports car. Front engine, traditional rear drive. This is a rear engine Lotus, rear drive, rear transaxle type of outfit. And to see them just side by side and just ever so squeezing away in the Lotus, which is used about the first 300 metres of the straight for a slipstream, and then pulling on through.
Just confirming as well, it is actually Adrian Wilson in the BMW at the moment. The timing's just updated, so Nader will get in for the closing stint, and Steve Wan will be behind the wheel of the Lotus, so 2 co-drivers will resume the battle when the pit stop takes place. Speaking of pit stops, they're about 90 seconds away from getting underway, not too far to go until the pit window opens as this 4-way battle for positions 4, 5, 6 and 7 continues. Richard Gartner in the Lamborghini, Jason Miller in the Porsche, Jeff Taunton in the Mark car, and then Jeff Morgan in the slightly newer model Porsche, all dicing over position.
Lockie, here's the thing. This is the roll of the dice. Looking out over the back of the track, it's a little bit brighter than what it was earlier, but down out over down sort of that Penrith sort of way.
West, yep.
Yeah, it's darker.
Yep. And
Now,
the weather
we've got
tends to come in from the west
Now,
too, doesn't it?
Yeah, what is the way, do you look at this, do you look at it and go, let's get in early, let's do the Peter Patten and let's just get in and get right back out? Or do we run right to the end of the pit stop window, hopefully no rain occurs, but if it does, in that time you can come in right on the start of the rain, everyone else has to will be slowing down, you come in and you could actually be a race-changing pit stop strategy. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out, even if they're taking in the rain into account.
Not only that, but if we were to get heavy rain and it was to necessitate a tyre change, you'd try and combine that with the pit stop as well. As we see, that is Gary Higgin down the inside of Michael Stilwell at turn 2. Gary Higgin, as you mentioned, scored back in 9th position at the moment, but keep in mind that he does have the very fast Nathan Antunes to jump into that car and drive the car home. So Nathan Antunes will no doubt be charging on through. The siren sounds, the pit window was open, and the first car that's going to dive in and take its compulsory pit stop will be the number 111 Porsche of Steve McFadden, the Queenslander.
So Steve McFadden comes in out of 13th place and will take the compulsory pit stop. On the screen now, that's Jason Stokes, number 1, the defending New South Wales Production Sports champion. Streaming onto the straight here. Looks like Jeff Taunton coming to the lane now as well. Yes, he does in the Mustang. So a couple of early stoppers into the lane.
I think that might be a smart move there for Jeff Taunton and the Mark Cars crew, because he was caught up in traffic. He hadn't been able to get past Jason Miller on the racetrack, so by bringing him in early, getting him out of that battle pack, it potentially releases him. He can punch out some quick times and do what we would describe in Formula One as the undercut strategy.
Interestingly enough, just watching there before we went to Jeff Taunton, he's wanting a bit of fresh air to blow through the Mark Cars cockpit there as well. There's the vented and fluted guards. Good performance getting any of the underguard pressure out from under there. A very strong aero and effective change there on the Mark Cars. Interestingly enough, was that battle that was going on with Miller and Richard Gartner, the Porsche looking left and right of the Lamborghini to see if he could gain a spot now as we watch Michael Stilwell, and he's being chased down by Townsend in the Lotus.
Yes, so that's the battle for the lead in Class C that we're watching on screen at the moment. We just had a shot there as well while that pit stop was taking place with Jeff Taunton. At the back of that shot, you could see that Gary Higgin was in as well, handing that car over to Nathan Antunes. And here is Townsend up the inside of Stilwell on the run-up into turn 6, using the superior braking and handling of the smaller, lighter and more nimble Lotus to fire through on the inside.
I would say the fact that Mustang's a left hooker would be the only reason he would have been able to see that Lotus there, because he was hidden right below the door line there, and it's just the fact that Michael had a bit of a glance out the left-hand side and saw the white lid. Oh, Vince Moridi out of 3rd spot has gone around at the turn 8 hairpin. Exiting the pits now is Gary Higgin. He goes, and I would expect off the back of that we'll see Vince Moridi into the lane in the number 33.
That was actually at turn 3 that's happened.
Too. Yeah.
So that's an unusual place to spin. I wonder if there's a bit more to that story. Here we go. This replay might answer the question. So Steve McFadden goes through. He just done a pit stop.
No,
it looks like he's done it all on his own. There were no other cars around.
Well, that's 3 in that second sector, which we've had go around from no other, no foul play, no need to blow the whistle, umpire. Play on. As Gary Higgin in the number 24, now back out on track. Not quite up to speed yet, and he's making his way around to turn 3. So
it'll be Nathan Antunes, who's now on board the number 24 car, so he'll be just making sure those Pirelli tyres are up to temperature, and then he will be on the charge to try and make up as many spots as he can. And Vince Moridi, as a result of that spin, has dropped right back to the next battle pack, which includes Richard Gartner and Jason Miller. So a fair bit of time lost there for Vince Moridi. Here's a driver change going down at Stilwell Family Racing. Michael Stilwell out, Dave Stilwell in the car. You know that Dave, for all of his other talents behind the microphone and behind the wheel of a medical car, is not too bad behind the wheel of a race car either. And he will have seen that car losing the lead of Class C with Glenn Townsend going through, so Dave will be on a mission to make sure that he recaptures the lead of that class.
I do like the Stilwell family racing helmets and driving suits with each other. Nice to see that. Very strong family in Australian motorsport. Of course, Bib Stilwell raced for many, many years, right up until historic motorsport in his Repco Brabham, right up to the early 90s. And a very, very strong motorsporting family. The Stilwells, in fact, it's almost synonymous with Australian motorsport. Stilwell, Brabham, Davison, those names ring true as far as that's concerned.
Bib Stilwell, of course, very successful open wheel racer in that era against those very distinguished names, and also very successful businessman who set up a lot of car dealerships in Melbourne that still exist to this very day.
Of course, Volvo, BMW, the family involved in these days. The famous Stilwell Ford down in the Q Junction there in Melbourne for a long, long time. Very famous site there.
This is another battle that's been going on pretty much since the start of the race. Richard Gardner in the Lamborghini versus Jason Miller in the Porsche. We've got some more pit stops happening as cars come in to get themselves out of traffic and try and get into a position where they've got some clear track to fully maximise the performance potential of their cars.
Does David Withers in the Travel Plan Ski Holidays Cup car into the lane. So I wouldn't suggest that we've seen a rash of pit stops just at this point of time. That was Steve McFadden now in the number 11 Graham Lusty Trailers entry. In fact, he's gone into the garage. That wasn't part of the plan. Gone straight into the garage.
Well, he'd already done his compulsory pit stop, so obviously this is an unscheduled stop and there must be some sort of drum with that car. So
Paul Bassett now in after a horrible start. That's a real shame. Start like he did. Here's a bit of traffic, this will sort them out. There's Gartner and Stokes that have been battling for the best part of a dozen laps now, going through and after Abrahams and just trying to find their own bit of track to have their battle on. Have a look at this. Really good drive by Richard Gartner because Jason Miller has not relented in applying the pressure. Oh, Jeff Taunton. What happened there? Jeff Taunton off, taking out the 150 metre brake marker, coming in out of Corporate Hill and into turn 8.
Well, it was a pretty congested part of the racetrack, so I'm just wondering if he's come around Corporate Hill, which is a bit of a blind corner because you do have the hill on the left. And as he's come around the corner, he might have seen a slower car ahead and he's had to dart to the left to avoid making contact.
Yeah, and often when you do that, the slower car darts the same direction as you go, and someone ends up on the grass. Didn't look like there was any, I guess, contact with something hard, so let's hope there's no harm, no foul.
Here we go. On. Jason Miller, really good run through turn 1. Looks to the inside of Richard Gartner. Gartner, though, deep under brakes, covers off the overtaking opportunity into turn 2.
Watch how Miller gets the line out of this corner, though, gets a good drive with the Porsche. It's not often you see a Porsche not being able to outbrake a Lamborghini, so they've got this Gallardo absolutely hooked up. It's doing a tremendous job. Vince Moridi in the lane, and Matt Stupas? Yeah, Matt Stupas leaving the lane. So the MPC crew working hard. In fact, this is his own crew down there working for Vince Moridi, Penfold Bodyworks outfit. There goes the 23 out into the lane in the race lead. Back out in 5th place, Nick Kelly, Richard Gartner, Jason Miller, Jeff Morgan still to make their pit stops, but Matt Stupas on lap 17 or 16 decided it was time for him to do it with just over half race distance remaining. 31 and a half minutes left in this event.
Fastest lap of the race has been achieved by Nathan Anshunes after climbing on board the number 24 car. He's just punched out a minute 31.8 on that car's 16th lap. So as we suspected and as we predicted, now that Anshunes is behind the wheel of that car, he is motoring along at a very rapid rate of knots and looking to make up some positions. Some great camera shots coming to us courtesy of Glenline TV from down there in the pits. Richard Gartner is now into the pits as well, so That will release the car of Jason Miller, and he'll be able to use some of that clear track to his advantage. But good stint from Richard Gardner to keep Jason Miller behind and withstand that pressure for so many laps.
So pit stop being executed there. Here's the replay. Jason Miller all over the back of the Lambo.
Well, just to make a mockery of what I said about Richard Gardner keeping him at bay, Miller did actually make the move, and a nice move it was too, at turn 5.
Watch out for that rear wing end plate. It'll take your arm off as you go around the back of that car. The Wall Racing crew, Dave Wall, chatting away with Richard Gardner there. I think he's saying, yeah, mate, no props. Actually, we'll go and see the KFC guys. We'll see if they got a twister for you. No drama.
I bonked my funny bone on the rear wing end plate of one of the Audis earlier on today when I was down in the pits. But it hurt. It's painful. You have to watch out for it.
It's not funny, is it?
No.
I don't know why it's called bumping your funny bone. It's got to be changed. Let's start a procedure on that. Let's start a campaign. It's not a funny bone. It's a ow, that hurt bone. Oh, Richard Gardner stalled it. Fires it back up and releases the clutch on the Raging Bull. It's exactly how you should have it. Very bright yellow livery on the Gallardo. Happy to see the bright livery on the Gallardo. Yellow is a good colour. In fact, I like to see matte black on the Diablo as well. Or shine gloss black. Either way, Diablo needs to be black.
So the Richard Gardner car, one of 2 Lamborghinis in the field this weekend. The other one being driven by Abrahams, as we have mentioned, and there was supposed to be a third one, which was the Peter Corbett car, but unfortunately crashed in practice yesterday, and there was a bit of chassis damage which they were not able to repair here at the circuit, so unfortunately that eliminated that car from the remainder of proceedings for the weekend. But no doubt Peter Corbett will be back out on the track for future rounds of the GT Trophy Series and also the Q Production Sports Car Endurance Series, as we see that Jeff Morgan's in the pits for his compulsory stop, as is Glenn Townsend in the Lotus, who pitted out of the Class C lead.
Jeff Morgan just opening the door now, just getting a little bit of fresh air into the cabin. The Porsche cabin is a very nice workplace indeed, but certainly when you get the opportunity to get some cooler air in, the crew says, right, are you about to go, Jeff? Need to get that door closed on the number 41 Sweet Black, creating success with the people. McTavish surfboards from Byron Bay also on board there. The Prod Sports driver racing with the Q Series in 2020. Jeff Morgan, strong contender over many years in what was the old Porsche Cup. Many years. He was a very front runner. The likes of Peter Bradbury and the others that raced at the very front of the field in Porsche Cup days. And back out on track he goes.
Peter Bradbury, Wayne Hennig, even Jonathan Webb started his racing career in the old Porsche Cup Series as well. And Jeff Morgan's done a lot to support young up-and-coming motorsport talent here in Australia as well. Actually, his stepson, Dan Holohan, who you'd probably recognise because he is quite the avid poster on social media as one of the competitors in the New South Wales Formula Ford Championship.
Yes, does a good job there. Certainly Joey Mawson has been receiving from the generosity of the hard work that Jeff Morgan's thrown his way as well, along with the late Tom Warwick, big supporters in that side of things, early days in the Australian Motorsport Foundation, and then in later years their own foundation, which they injected a lot of money into Australians going racing on the international scene, and largely unheralded support as well. They've been very generous, and they fly below the radar. They don't really care for the media type of attention, as the Gary Higgin car, which has now got Nathan Antunes at the wheel. Here comes the 82 Wilson Nader car. Wilson at the wheel, Nader to jump on board. Let's have a look at this. Shots on camera now, Lockie. This is interesting to watch how quick the GT3 Cup car, or the GT3 Audi, will go through on the A-bar, the number 69, and away it goes.
Andre Lattori behind the wheel of that Fiat Abarth this weekend, and Nick Kelly, who we're watching on screen at the moment, the industry clothing Audi R8, is currently your race leader by 41.6 seconds ahead of Jason Miller. Kelly, Miller and Dylan DeZarbo all have to take their compulsory pit stops. The first car that has done its stop, Matt Stupas.
Oh, big slide there for Nick Kelly. Just about went round there. He caught it. Sorry, Lockie, didn't mean to cut you off there, but rear end let go on Nick Kelly's car coming around 8. Sorry about that.
And there's Matt Stupas at the moment. So that's the first of the cars that's done a pit stop. So the key thing here, Darren, is going to be when Nick Kelly comes in for his pit stop, where he rejoins the race relative to Matt Stupas. Still 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining before the pit window closes. So Nick Kelly can stay out for probably another couple of laps before he needs to box the industry clothing Audi.
At this point in time, the message to Nick Kelly is set your fastest laps. Absolutely hammer the Audi for the next 5 minutes before we bring you in, or next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it might be, but make an advantage. Try to close that gap back to Matt Stupas. Matt Stupas and his team executed a fantastic pit stop. There was no fault there. Jeff Morgan back out on track as well at number 41. Jeff currently running 6th on the road. Pit stop completed. So that's very, very nice run indeed with the sweet black car. And here comes the Audi with Nathan Antunes at the wheel to come through. This is for position on the track. This is a genuine challenge. Nathan Antunes looks to the inside of Jeff Morgan. Jeff Morgan leaves the door open. He knew he was coming. He knew it was fast. He knew the closing rate was there. Jeff Morgan had no argument with Nathan Antunes, and he gets the spot done. So that's for 6th and 7th on the road. Now Antunes now into 6th place. Jeff Taunton getting back through on Richard Gardner there as well. So Jeff Taunton now goes from 9th to 8th. So a bit of a swap around, bit of positions. These guys have all made their pit stops. And Dylan Szabo now in pit lane as well.
Nathan Antunes in car number 24 is a driver who we definitely have to watch in the closing stages of this race, because he is absolutely flying at the moment on board that car. And if he can keep punching out the sorts of lap times that he has been lately, he has every chance of catching up to the likes of Stupas, Areti and Nick Kelly before we get to the end of this race. Could be a pretty exciting finish. Only one car in the pits at the moment for its compulsory pit stop. That's Dylan DeZarbo in the Course Motorsport prepared number 52997 Porsche, but we do also now have Nick Kelly coming in as well. So the race leader with 3.5 minutes remaining in the pit window now brings the industry clothing number 99 Audi in as well.
Gee, it's going to be close.
Yeah, very close.
It's going to be very, very close when they emerge. So there's the car that is chasing for the lead, because Jason Miller still has to come in, and he's leading Class A. He's got 3 minutes left to do it in, so he's holding bright out. This is the effective race leader, Nick Kelly, GT leading the way, the number 99. Beautiful looking turned out car from the Perfect Auto Body team and the Audi customer racing outfit. He comes at 23 out of 8. Let's count this down. He's coming around through 9. Up to 10 and 11 now. Let's see him point out of the straight. The Audi of Nick Kelly still stationary in the pit lane, right below us here in the commentary booth, and exits. Where is the KFC car? It's coming down the straight. It's going to get the lead of the race, but it is going to be a very, very slim margin indeed. That frustratingly slow pit speed limit as he goes past into turn 1 sees Nick Kelly going to languish a good 5 to 6 seconds behind the KFC car. In fact, it might even be more as the KFC car hits to turn 1. Kelly hasn't even emerged out of the pits. Abrahams goes through. There is Nick Kelly, so that's got to be a good 15 seconds behind that he has given up to Matt Stupas. Jason Miller out of the race lead now into the lane as well.
Nick Kelly goes around the car of Greg Ward. That's actually translated to a bit bigger margin for Matt Stupas than what we might have expected. It is, like you say, it's going to be to the tune of about 15 seconds. We'll confirm the exact margin next time around as we have a look at another replay of some action that's happened down at turn number 1 involving David Withers, who has gone firing off the racetrack in the fastest corner on the circuit and then come back on in a pretty awkward position that had to be set in front of some oncoming cars.
Have a look at this. Matt Stupas now sending a very clear message to anyone in front of him on the flashes there, but I'm not too sure he was signalling that too, because there's a Porsche up the road a long, long way away that won't even see the flashes there. So Matt Stupas is getting a little bit ahead of himself there with being on the flashes. saying, I'm coming on through. He comes after Abraham, Nick Kelly buried in behind him. So what is it, 11 seconds to from Matt Stupas to Nick Kelly with just on 20 minutes left to go. That's just on half a second a lap that Nick Kelly has to be faster and then be able to get through on the last lap of the race. And let me tell you, Matt Stupas doesn't let anyone through.
We were talking about Nathan Antunes, and he is right on the tail of Vince Moretti in the contest for positions 3 and 4. However, in fact, he's got ahead of Moretti. Yes, he has. So he's now up to 3rd position, Nathan Antunes. The problem for him is that he's 48 seconds off the lead of the race. So even despite the fact that Antunes is by far and away the quickest driver on the racetrack, unless there's a safety car, you would have to say that he's just not going to have time to catch up to 1st or 2nd.
I'm very impressed with the New South Wales production sports teams in the Q1 hour with the driving standards. There was a time at the Q1 hour at Phillip Island where it wasn't quite as good as what it is here this weekend. There was some pretty bad displays of driving about 5 or 6 years ago with the Q1 hour at Phillip Island. But this weekend they're acquitting themselves very, very well. The ones that are faster are giving everyone plenty of time to let them know they're coming up on them. The slower cars are certainly getting out of the way, so that is absolutely perfect, as the auto body sponsor on the side of the Vince Moretti car would say.
I think a lot of the improvement in driving standards, Darren, boils down to the fact that there's a lot more opportunities now in Australia for people to race in multi-class events where they have to get used to either lapping slower cars or being lapped by faster cars. So just the overall level of driver awareness about how to deal with a situation like that where you've got cars travelling at all different speeds has definitely improved.
Yeah, well, we saw it a couple of weeks ago at Winton with the Thundersports category. There's some pretty differentiations in speed there at grassroots type of racing, so they're sort of starting to learn it at an earlier phase. So yes, you're right, these multi-class, and that's what we're here for this weekend, the celebration of the 2020 Production Car Nationals, steeped in class history, isn't it? You've got to get used to it.
Now, this is a problem for the BMW, unfortunately. They'd already made their compulsory pit stop, Adrian Wilson and Andre Nader, and that car crawling quite slowly around the track and heading back on into the pit. So, unfortunately, one of our Class B contending vehicles striking some late race dramas.
Yeah, that's a real shame. Really like this BMW. Like to see it progress on. Not going into the garage, actually pulling up short of the garage. They got a flat. Have they experienced a flat tyre? They look like they're going under the car. No, nothing looks to be an issue there. Maybe there's a wheel bearing or something like that the driver's starting to feel issues with. And seeing the fluting on that car. Now they're pulling that wheel off. Certainly these teams are not well equipped for pit stops involving tyres. Just looking at the sidewall actually of that tyre. It's been rolled over quite hard on the sidewall of that car. So maybe a deflating tyre was picked up nice and early by Nader, and car brought into the lane. Here's this little run. This is the two Jeffs. They're out having a Jeff contest.
Yep, and this is a battle for position. They're squabbling over positions 6 and 7, Jeff Morgan and Jeff Taunton. Richard Gardner not too far behind them either, so shaping up to be a good three-way battle between these cars in the closing stages of the race. Just coming back to that potential tyre issue as well for the BMW, here at Sydney Motorsport Park, it does tend to be the front right-hand tyre that does the most work. Because
same as Sandown.
Yeah, as you can imagine, through corners like turn 1 and also coming around Corporate Hill, a lot of load goes through that front right-hand tyre. So if you do have a bit of an issue, probably safest option to bring it in and check it out, because you wouldn't want it to fail on you at turn 1.
No, turn 1 and coming onto the straight as well. The wall is quite close if you have a blow right front and on to steer off into that concrete wall, just where we're having a look now. So the two Jeffs having a battle, and yes, they're both GEOFF, so it is a true Jeff battle. Spelled exactly the same way. There's no fancy JEFFs here. It's the old school GEOFFs. And there's Richard Gardner. He's weighing in on it. It's like, well, if the Jeffs are going to have a battle, I'm going to storm on through and spoil the party for these two. Just off the back of them, as we've got Jeff Morgan leading the way. It's a good battle. Jeff Taunton now would like to prove the point, being that he's the man calling the shots at the top of Mark cars these days. And Jeff Morgan driving what is world-renowned thoroughbred sports car, the corporation of Porsche. Boy, they focus on motorsport. It is their main marketing and proving ground for the brand, isn't it?
We've seen a lot of drivers come out of the various Porsche categories here in Australia and gone on to do great things, either staying here within Australia or like Matt Campbell going on and achieving a lot of success in international motorsport. Speaking of Porsches, there's one Porsche ambassador, Mark Webber, who is going to be making an appearance in Canberra a bit later on in the week to launch the extension to the Canberra go-kart circuit. Great to have Mark Webber.
Of course, being a Queanbeyan local.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. Here we go.
So this is the tyre that came off the Andre Nader and Adrian Wilson car. We need to get our cameraman up to...
Can't really see it. Needs to get around the other side with the light in the tyre for us to be able to analyse what's going on. But certainly the inner sidewall's got damage on it there, so... Yeah, that might be just some G-forces. There's the car back out on track motoring around now. So we'll see that. It did look to be the tyre was rolling over onto the sidewall a bit there, so maybe giving up on that a little bit. Not something we really ever see out of the Pirelli race tyre. They've been a very durable, strong advantage in this sort of racing in Australia for a long time now.
Here's Dave Stilwell on screen, currently in Lanes Class C, so the way the pit stop cycle played out, they were able to get back ahead of the Lotus.
Triple threat out there at the moment. Dance, sing, act, no, sorry. Drive race cars, drive medical cars, commentate races. Triple threat, Dave Stilwell.
Oh, and he does like to come up with the corny puns as well. That's his other special talent.
Yeah, I think that might be in the DNA, actually.
Quite possibly. So he leads the way in Class C. We'll run you through the other class leaders. So Matt Stupas, your outright race leader, currently leads the way in the GT class. Jason Miller leads the way in Class A at the moment. Class B is led by Steve Wan in the number 456 Lotus, after the Andre Nader and Adrian Wilson BMW had that drama with the inner sidewall failing on the tyre. Here's Arthur Abrahams in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo car making a move up the inside of the Lotus. And here is our Class B leading Lotus, the 456 car with Steve Wan on board at the moment.
Doing a good job, Steve Wan, to be battling. That was for track position, race position there between those two. Arthur Abrahams challenging for 14th on the road. Stephen Wan opening it up there. Dave Stilwell's the next guy on the road behind these cars, and he's leading Class C. So that Mustang we're just looking at. Have a look at this. Here's two cars going to go side by side, like-minded contestants. Down the straight they go. It's the black car will stamp its authority, and Nick Kelly coming right in behind here. Here's the Jeffs going for it again. The All-Jeff Championship of 2020 out there at the moment.
This is a great battle between these two drivers. So Jeff Morgan continues to keep Jeff Taunton at bay. And both these cars very evenly matched in terms of their performance at the moment as well. Neither one of them seems to have a clear advantage over the other one. Where can Jeff Taunton find an overtaking spot? Maybe if he can get a good run out of turn 12 and draw alongside on the run down into turn 1. But the Porsche with that mass over the rear axle with the engine, rear-mounted engine in the Porsche 911, he's getting very good traction off the low-speed corners.
Yeah, it is a feature of these cars, and certainly is the ability under brakes at the moment. All we need to do is throw Jeff Brabham in here and we'd have a triple Jeff challenge.
Jeff Emery would be another
Emery,
one.
well, there you go. We probably should have him here in an Audi, shouldn't we? Multiple Australian GT champion last year, took both GT championship and endurance titles. He had more presentation dinners and award nights to go to than race meetings at the end of last year, old Jeff Emery. He's probably watching on, actually. Jeff Emery be keeping an eye on the GT Trophy Series. He did a little bit of racing there himself, along with made his name in Commodore Cup and then development series with supercars. Found a very happy home in GT racing, though. Certainly very strong in the Team Valvoline outfit. It's Nathan Antunes, the number 24. Where's Nathan now? Third on the road in his fastest lap Only 2 laps to go now, 1:30.7. He's
He
now
is
2 seconds
flying.
faster than anyone else on the road.
So remember how probably about 6 or 7 minutes ago I said, oh, he's 48 seconds off the lead. He's got no chance of catching them. Well, it's now only 28 seconds.
Oh,
that he's off the
it's
lead.
19 to second place too, so he could improve his step on the podium in the next 10 minutes. There's 10 and a half minutes left to go. He's 2 seconds a lap faster than any other contender, at least 1.8 seconds every lap, so it's doable. Absolutely doable. This is a drive like when Nathan first jumped behind the wheel of the Squirk Audi, which would be the same model as this car, for Rod Salmon all those years ago, and made an absolute name for himself, coming around out of 4 into Brocco 5. Drive out of the corner.
The other interesting thing is that Nick Kelly has been slightly faster than Matt Stupas in the closing segment of this race. So when they came out after their pit stops, there was about 12 seconds separating them. Nick Kelly's managed to get it down to 7 seconds. One of the things about the newer model Audi R8 compared to the slightly older 2014 spec car that Matt Stupas is driving in is that the new cars do tend to look after their tyres slightly better. So that could tip the pendulum the way of Nick Kelly in this closing stage.
It is interesting, Lockie, you touched on it earlier with these cars on track. The evolution of these cars is an evolution on perfection, isn't it? It's millimetre changes, it's ever so slight, and each time we get to the next evolution, whether it's called an Evo or not, or another designation of LMS or Ultra or whatever it might be that they throw at it, it's an evolution on perfection. These things are great to begin with, and they just put them back up on the CAD screen and go, now how do we make this easier for the faulty item, which is the spacer between the wheel and the headrest, isn't it, really? The cars are brilliant. They don't have any weaknesses, and I'm putting GT3 in a big envelope here. It's the Audis. It's the guy behind the wheel that makes all the difference.
When you consider their target market, which is typically drivers who don't race professionally but race recreationally and want to have the ability to enjoy their machinery in a very risk-free environment, obviously development of the driver aids, things like the traction control and the ABS braking systems is very important, and also configuring the aero and the suspension and those sorts of things in such a way that the car is predictable, and if it gets away from you, it gives you plenty of warning and gives you the opportunity to correct it.
And then the beauty of the racing that we saw at Mount Panorama in the 12 hour, when given to a professional racing car driver, how they can drive them all the way to the edge and just hang them on the edge there. It's like a surfer hanging 10, really. It's just that fine line between where the super skilled race car driver can take these GT3 cars to, and then once it's handed back down through, so we see the 991, the 997, the 996 in the Porsche ranks, which we're seeing all of those models represented here today. We have many others that race in the sports car races around the country in state series, like the one we're watching here today, the New South Wales Sports Car Championship as well. You know, we see things like MX-5s. Every now and again we see the Datsun 260Zs, the 240Zs, even some of the 350Zs running around in these sorts of races as well. But certainly being able to drive these cars on the ragged edge is somewhat magnificent to watch. And we watch those pros do it every year in the 12 hour at Mount Panorama. It really is magnificent.
The battle of the Jeffs is still not resolved, and they're coming up on some traffic now as well. They have to negotiate their way down the inside of the number 82. Adrian Wilson and Andre Nader BMW. Jeff Taunton still has not been able to find a way past Jeff Morgan. It's been a great defensive display from Jeff Morgan so far. Let's see what happens as they negotiate their way past the next couple of lapped cars.
So the next one will be the Raging Bull of Arthur Abrahams. He'll know he's left the gap wide open for them to run down the inside. He's also got his battle to continue on with to try and get back through onto Withers, and he's gone through on Stephen Wan, so that's interesting. Wan had gotten through on him. Now he's disappeared back a little bit there. Nathan Antunes fastest in Sector 1 at 26.77, 32 laps in. This is an old set of racing tyres on this Audi. The car was given to him on an old set, or let's say a very well worn in set of tyres for Nathan Andrews. 33 laps in. The Pirellis are still setting fast in second. 26.7662 Nathan Andrews. A credit to the car, the tyre, and especially the driver, doing a tremendous job there. A 130.74. He's now still 1 3/4 seconds faster than anyone else out there. A 132.1 to Vince Moridi, a 132.4 to Nick Kelly. So still operating very, very strong level. 1.5 seconds faster than anyone else out there at the moment. The gap now to 13 seconds with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. You'd have to suggest that we're cheering him on. We're wishing Nathan to catch onto the back of these guys, but to make it a real race in 3. But at this point in time, it's just going to escape him.
Yeah, the clock's just going to beat him, I think, Darren. We'd love it. We love the grandstand finish, but
I think we're going to have it for the Battle of the Jeffs at the moment. Don't forget, this is for 6th and 7th in the race. This is the World Championship with Jeff.
Taunton looks left.
He's
looks
making
right.
a move, isn't he? At least he's having a go. He's not just following that Porsche around. He's putting the car into a position. Jeff Morgan just moving the car over to wherever he wants, and he's allowed to do that. He has the lead in this. He can put the car wherever he wants, but you get the feeling that Jeff Morgan's gone from I'm leading this to watching what's going on behind him, defensively watching what Jeff Taunton is doing. And good on Jeff Taunton. As his surname would suggest, he is taunting him at the moment. Putting it left, putting it right, putting the nose of the mark car in to where Jeff Morgan's got his Porsche. And have a look at that. He's crowding the corner now in the sweet black 991.
While these two are battling, it's allowing Jason Ewan just to escape up the road in the lead of Class A. He has an advantage of a bit over 3 seconds. In fact, it's almost 4 seconds that Jason Mueller has extended back to this battle group. The next car I'll have to negotiate their way past will be that Fiat 500 Abarth of Andre Latour, which they do on the run up to turns 9, 10 and 11.
Still one of my favourite race cars. I love those things. They really are. They're just a pocket rocket. They don't look it when you put these mark cars and these New South Wales Sports Car Championship cars up against them, but they're quick. Oh, Richard Gartner's slowing. He was weighing in on the back of the World Championship for Jeffs there for a bit, and the Lambo has slowed coming out of the final corner. He was in the back of shot coming to pit lane there, so Jeff Morgan and Jeff Taunton have shaken off Richard Gartner's challenge as they come up now onto the back of Dave Stilwell. Dave Stilwell running wide there, nicely opened up. He's let this battle continue on without slowing it down at all. And there's Richard Gartner with 3 minutes left to go in this race. Richard Gartner has lost drive.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Richard Gartner, one of the great characters of the paddock in any production sports or GT round, so that really is a shame to see that Lambo experiencing problems so late in the race.
It's got a hunting problem down there. It's not idling the car. It's going right up in the rev range and dropping back down, so that's not what you want. That will be making gear changing very difficult, even though it's got the ignition cut type air-assisted gear change. If the engine management system isn't working properly, the safety stop car will have certain issues. Dave Wall has gone down on his knees to talk to Richard Gartner. Here's our race leader, Matty Stupas. 5.5 seconds away is Nick Kelly. 6.5 seconds away is Nathan Antunes. And closing, that was 19 seconds not that long ago. In fact, 8 minutes ago, that was 19 seconds away.
There'll be 2 laps to go at the end of this one, Darren. So Matt Stupas will get across the line with about 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining, which means that this will be commencing the second and last lap of the race. So for mine, the entertaining contest here is going to be the battle for positions 2 and 3, because Nick Kelly's got a margin of just on 5 seconds over Nathan Antunes, but we've seen that Antunes has been making extremely rapid progress.
Paul Bassett is fighting back hard. He had a horrible start to this race, but he is absolutely fighting strongly in the number 11. He's got Nick Kelly ranging up on him now, so he might lose a lap there, but he has certainly made his way back up into 8th position. He disappeared down as low as 16th off the start of the race, and that's a really good fight back for that Porsche driver.
As mentioned before, had some driver coaching from Cameron Hill, and and that has allowed him to punch out some really impressive lap times over the course of this weekend. And like you say, it's been a very strong fight back from Paul Bassett in that Porsche 911. It's back up to position 3 within Class A as well. But here is Nick Kelly, the driver who currently runs in second position outright, with 1.5 laps remaining in the race. And he has to try and hold out a very rapidly closing Nathan Antunes.
Lockie, we have a bit of fun with Dave Stilwell because he is one of our colleagues, but at the moment he's driving a very clever race. He has no battle with these cars. He's leading Class C, and he is getting out of the way of these cars in the last stanza of this race. They'll be hot and sweaty, these guys, and the last thing they need is a Mustang planted in the middle of the road as they try to get through. So good kudos to Dave Stilwell. He's driving a good, strong race and getting out of the way of these cars charging at him. Our race leader is going to get another journey around with 7 seconds left on the clock. The number 23 is going to get another lap. Nick Kelly charging as well. He's closed that gap. Have a look at that now. It's 2.7 seconds between Stupas and Kelly. 5.3 back to Nathan Antunes. Is there an issue for the Stupas car? Because in one lap, Nick Kelly has ranged up the best part of 1.5 seconds onto the KFC car for the first time in many laps. He now can see it. There they are. That's 1 and 2 on the road.
Stupas, I think, had a very traffic-affected lap that last time through. There were several slower cars that he had to negotiate his way around, but all of a sudden it just puts a bit of pressure on the number 23 KFC Audi driver with 1 lap remaining. He will have looked in his mirrors, Matt Stupas, and he will have seen the industry clothing Audi ranging up. So very important here for Matt Stupas to have an absolutely mistake-free final lap.
And they're coming up in the Battle of the Jeffs too, these two cars as well. Last sector, Nick Kelly was half a second faster than Matt Stupas. It's still 2 seconds up the road, but there they are. Stupas on the flashes to that Lotus, which is leading his class as well. Stephen Wan leading Class B, getting out of the way nicely, as Dave Stilwell also did. Intelligent driving. Here comes Matt Stupas, and for the first time in the whole race, Nick Kelly's in the same shop. As they come to the line, there goes the Battle of the Jeffs, and they've got another lap to go. The number 23 KFC car takes the race win. Matt Stupas, Nick Kelly right in behind, 2.16 seconds down the road. There's Nathan Antunes. What a drive in the KFC number 24 car there that he shares with Gary Higgins. A big charge. Absolutely nothing out of the ordinary there for Nathan Antunes. He's done what he always does and got to the line in 3rd place there. So it's an Audi whitewash. Vince Moretti is the next car on the road. He's a long way down. And let's watch this. This race is still going on because now they're coming up onto the back of Jace Miller. This is Jeff Morgan, Jeff Taunton and Jason Miller. This is for 5, 6 and 7 on the road. This race is still live.
And Jason Miller, keep in mind that he was about 4 seconds ahead of Jeff Morgan a couple of laps ago. They are battling for the Class A win here. So just wondering if Jason Miller's got some sort of issue with his car which has caused him to slow down in the last couple of laps, because he's going to have to defend from Jeff Morgan. Jeff Taunton looks to the outside heading into the hairpin on this final lap. Not quite able to get the drive out of the corner though to get the overlap that he would have needed to make the move on Jeff Morgan, but it's going to be a tense run to the line for these 3 cars. Morgan and Taunton, they've been nose to tail for so many laps. Jason Miller as well.
Jeff Taunton trying absolutely everything. He took the wide run out of turn 8 to try and carry the velocity up to the top of the hill. It's not going to be a long enough run down the straight. Jace Miller will take it, but it'll be Jeff Morgan and Jeff Taunton get through there. So it's Jeff Morgan that takes the race from Jeff Taunton there. Jace Miller, welcome home into 5th place.